everyone, and welcome to Club 4, Episode 6 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. We are a really strange team at the moment at Connors Key Nomads in the Welsh top tier. We've reached the end of the first half of the season. It now splits off and we play the top half for the next few games. In the last couple of matches, we went through in the Cup semi-final. Today we'll play the final. And then we got absolutely thrashed in the last league match of that first half of the season. We're so inconsistent. But today, it's all about silverware. Can we dethrone the New Saints, the best team in the league, the best team in the cup? Let's find out. So, for one day only, we get to breathe deep and forget all about the league. The league is interesting in itself. Let's just quickly have a look at it. We're in third position. We're miles behind the top two now. And we're only 3 points clear of Cardiff Met Uni in fourth position. And they are the team that absolutely thumped me in the last match that I played. In the schedule, you'll see, we haven't played too many games since you and I were together last for the 4-2 win over Colwyn Bay because we were just closing out that first part of the season. We then went on to beat Carmarthen on penalties. It was a bit of a chore, but we got there in the end in the Nathaniel MG Cup semi-final. Excuse me to Nathaniel, whoever he might be. But yeah, we got through in the semi-final. We then got absolutely thrashed by Cardiff Met Uni 5-2. And it was such a poor performance. We never really got going. We got a couple of fairly late goals to make it look slightly more respectable than it actually was. But they absolutely thrashed us. And that's been the story of our second half of the season, really. If we stop at this point here, you'll think that's a fairly rubbish second half of the season. A few too many losses and not enough wins. But then if we go back a little bit further, you'll see that we started off brilliantly well. And then it just crashed and burned. And so it's been tricky. For a while, we were up at the top of the table nearly. Now we're not. Second half of the season is starting soon with all of the big boys still left to play a couple of times. But for today, it's against the New Saints in the Nathaniel MG Cup Final. The New Saints sitting top of the table. Really difficult team to play against. But today on a cup final is all about, can we unsettle the odds? Can we go against the bookmakers? Let's see if we can get that famous win and get us a trophy. So we've basically got a full strength squad. Everybody's fit and healthy pretty much, so I can choose who I want. So I've gone with my regular starting lineup for the cup competitions. It's a reduced bench of only 5 instead of 7, so that changes the dynamic of the bench slightly. But other than that, it's pretty much as you would expect me to go in with my first 11 for this particular season. So for the cup final against TNS, let's see how we get on with Park in goal, Barrett at right back, Roberts at left back, Williams and Bodenham in central defence, Berry and Pinchard in central midfield, Rees on the right, Bowris on the left, and Lloyd and Johnson up top, with a bench of Amos, Ward, Cullimore, Mitchell and Candy. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So for the cup final, I've pumped my fists. I've told the players we've got nothing to lose here. We know how good we are. Let's show everyone. We haven't proved it for a little while. The New Saints are on a bit of a tear at the top of the table. They're about 5 points clear of Bangor City at the top of the table. So it looks like it's their title to lose. But today, it's a clean slate. It's all about winning that trophy. Can we find a way to upset the odds and absolutely go in and win this trophy for Connors Key Nomads? Let's hope so. It's been a good run to get to this point. A couple of little stumbling blocks along the way, including having to go to penalties in the last outing in the semi-final. But we got here. Can the players perform? Can they find a good performance all of a sudden? It might be the slightly more minor trophy in Welsh top flight football, but ultimately it's a trophy nonetheless, and we'll see how we get on. Early on, 7 minutes in, it's the New Saints down the right-hand side that got the first highlight. They put it into the near post. We get that cleared. But then they win the ball back in midfield, or defensively, should I say, back into midfield then. And they've worked it down the left-hand side this time. They're looking for another cross in. They get the cross in. And what on earth was the goalkeeper doing, or not doing is more to the point, really. That seemed a relatively straightforward cross in from the far side. It was okay, but there was a defender under the ball as well as an attacker, so they should have been able to put the attacker off. And then the goalkeeper kind of let it go through his hands a bit, really, didn't he? He kind of faffed about, and it just drifted past him. Very poor keeping. But there's the erratic nature of our team is all based around the level of player that we've got, basically. Some days they're exceptionally good and they can show up. And other days they really, really do these sorts of things because we've just given a penalty away as well. This is what they do. They're erratic. And as I say, on any given day they can show up and perform brilliantly. On another day, the same set of players who are just not consistent with their attributes and their personality, their player traits and all that stuff, they're just sometimes not very good. And when you go on a run of not being very good, it seems really hard to get out of it. 12 minutes in and we're already 2-0 down in a cup final. That is not good enough at all for a team that's in third position in the league. Yes, we're far behind them at the moment at the top of the table, but we're still in third. We should still give a relatively good account of ourselves, and just at the moment, we're not really doing it. You can see that we've had a couple of shots at goal, or a couple of attempts at goal, only one on target though. They're up to 6 and 3 currently in terms of shots and then on target. They've had more possession. Their XG rating is ridiculous compared to ours. And we are struggling to impact the game. We're going to see this first half out, hopefully not concede any more goals. And then we'll read them the riot act at half time and see if we can put some things into play that will help us in the second half. Now, Bowris was brought down on the very edge of the box. Is that a penalty for us? It is. They've given a penalty to us on the 40-minute mark. Johnson on the penalty kick, and he puts it away and gives us a little bit of hope towards the end of this first half. 5 minutes to play the first half. We've come back into the game. Again, this is the issue that we're always facing at this level of competition. The players are inconsistent, and the new Saints, in theory, should go on and absolutely dominate. And then they've given away a silly penalty as well, which enables us to be back in the game. But one more attempt from them, potentially, at 42 minutes on the clock. It's a highlight for them. They've worked the ball centrally. They're trying to break the lines, and they do so brilliantly well. And again, their quickness of thought and movement seems to be far exceeding our own defensive abilities to follow runs. Look at this player down here, our left fullback. Watch him lose his man. He just doesn't respond to it at all. He just watches him as he runs away from him. And that puts the guy through on goal, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and slots it home very calmly for 3-1 again. And again, it's the inconsistency of the players, unfortunately. I don't feel like we're in a particularly complicated setup. We're playing a 4-4-2. If we go into the tactics page, you can see that we haven't got so many things listed because we're playing a very straightforward situation. So we're in a positive mentality. In terms of possession, there's a couple of things in here, but nothing really terrible, I wouldn't have thought. In transition, if we go in there, there's only a couple of things scheduled in that one as well. There's no player instructions specific to players necessarily. And again, just a higher defensive line and a higher line of engagement. Maybe we should drop that down one to standard and work off the standard defensive line. But other than that, tell me in the comments. I don't think that's a complicated system for them to figure out. It's about getting the ball out wide, running at the defence a little bit and getting a couple of crosses in. And if they can't quite cope with that, I don't quite know what else to give them, really, as an option. But simply put, they're just not playing very well at the moment. And the confidence is shot. And ultimately, when you reach a final against the New Saints, you have to be on top of your game. So we're going to throw the water bottle. There's nothing else I can do here other than absolutely tell them that they are not good enough. And ultimately, we have to do better. So I'm going to tell them that they were terrible, sort it out. We're going to go into the second half and try and help them do that. So first off, we're going to go and start the second half and then go into the shouts and fire them up. We're going to find a way to move into a more attacking mentality. and see if we can get on the front foot. Now, we could go the other way and sit more cautiously and try and defend better and try and keep the ball better, etc. But we need goals at this point. We're 3-1 down. There's not much else we can do, really. They put a very poor ball over the top for the goalkeeper to come out and claim comfortably. And that's a brilliant delivery upfield for Johnson. I think Lloyd was offside. I think he was offside. That's a shame. Really great clearance by the keeper. Good take by Johnson. And then, unfortunately, Lloyd just went fractionally early. It's something for next season at Connah's Quay that we have to find a better partner for Johnson up top. Johnson is an absolute superstar at this level. He is the only reason pretty much that we're in third position in the league. His goals have been spectacular, but he needs a better partner to work alongside him, unfortunately, than what we currently have. 67 minutes on the clock. Nothing's happening. There's been no highlights for the last 20 minutes of the game. So we're going to have to go in and change things up a little bit. I'm feeling like we have to change it up quite drastically, really. There's some really, really poor performances in there. Bowris on a 5.9 out of 10. This is a cup final, for goodness sake. If they can't get themselves up for a cup final, then I'm not sure what we do, really. We're going to switch it up completely. We're going to play in a 4-3-3 formation. So we're going to move Candy up top and then put Johnson more centrally. And let's boost Lloyd up into... What are we going to play Lloyd as? Let's put him as the poacher. We've got an attacking forward on the left-hand side, and we're going to play Johnson as the pressing forward on support, just to be the link between the two, basically. We're going to move Pinchard. Is it Pinchard I want to do this with? No, it's not. It's probably Cullimore. Let's play Cullimore more centrally in the 3, and we're going to play 2 Metzalas. So we're going to basically try and get those two up the pitch and get into these kind of areas to support these front 3. And we're going to play basically a long ball setup, really. Route 1, which is going to chuck it up there. We're going to take off the cautious mentality, go into positive. Everything that we do is all about get it up the pitch early, get it into those 3, and hope somebody can work something from there. And we'll see. I mean, there's very little else we can do at this point, really. We can go back into the shouts and we can demand more from them for the last 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of the game. But unless we get some shots away, then we're not going to get anything from this match. So Cullimore puts the ball over the top, and the goalkeeper for the New Saints absolutely makes a howler, which is really helpful to us. Ball goes over the top from Cullimore. There's an interesting decision to be made there, but the goalkeeper tries to parry it out, gets it all wrong, puts it right on the head of one of our guys, and it's Candy that puts the ball in the back of the net, and then it's disallowed for that offside decision. Minutely disallowed for that offside decision. You could see the lines were so close together. I thought we'd got away with it, but we hadn't. And we don't get that goal. We stay at 3-1. We win the ball again, though, in midfield. That's better. Again, I think Lloyd is offside. I really do. We'll see. But he doesn't put it in the goal anyway. But I think he was offside. And he was. He's not holding his runs, unfortunately, enough to really put them to the sword. And that's it. The game kind of drifted away from us, really, from the very early stages. Those first 2 goals in the first few minutes of the first half just did us in, really. And the New Saints get a very comfortable win, it must be said. I'm at a little bit of a loss with Connah's Quay Nomads at the moment. I mean, we were due to finish about 5th in the predictions for this season. So being in 3rd is pretty good at the moment. We are miles off of both Bangor and the New Saints in terms of our league points that we've accrued so far. And this team is not fantastic. There's a lot of deadwood behind the first team, which means you can't rotate. You can't really change too much up. We have to change that over the next transfer window, basically, and get some better squad players in, get a better depth in the squad, and take some of these first team players out of this team because we find better players and make these the backups somewhere. It's just, there's a lot of work to do here, I feel. We're only in the first season, of course, so it's no problem. I'm not, not at my wit's end just yet. But we do have to improve quite significantly. And again, it's demonstrated today. The top of the table side in the cup final, you would imagine that we'd be up for it and give our absolute all to everything that we do. And we just really weren't good enough. They were much, much better. Basically every statistic shows that. They had more shots at goal, more shots on target, better XG. Their pass completion was miles better than us. They had much more possession of the ball. And they scored more goals and won the cup final. So there we go. We lose. It's another real blow to our morale and our momentum that is basically non-existent at this time, because every time we get going, we stumble again. But we now have to switch our focus back to the league and see whether we can hold on to that third place spot. That is not a guarantee at the moment. We have to work very hard over the next 10 matches to do that. So let's see how we get on with that. So here we are back on the schedule page, refocusing our efforts on the league. We've still got the JD Welsh Cup 4th round to play against Barry. That should give us an opportunity to go through in that particular competition, which is good. Maybe later in this campaign, we'll still have another cup final to play. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. But we're going to come back next episode and we're going to play this game against Cardiff Met Uni. They're the team that are sitting directly below us in the league by a couple of points. They're the team that we need to fend off to keep our European spot. So we're going to play that game. We'll probably play the following episode, maybe the New Saints or something like that, and then finish off against Haverfordwest in the last game of the season, unless there is another cup final to play, possibly. But we'll see how that run goes as we move through the next 10 games or so. But ultimately, it's about keeping this third place spot. If we go into the competition page, you'll see that we sit there by 3 points, sorry, not 2 points currently. We have to keep that spot to get into Europe again next season. And to get into Europe is vital. It enables some money to come into the club, some more kudos to the club, better players being attracted, all that kind of stuff. If we drop out of that spot, this is going to be very tricky. So let's see how we get on. But that's going to basically do it today. Such a disappointing performance. The result, I'm not necessarily surprised about in a way. I mean, you know, it's the New Saints and they're very good and they were the favourites for a reason. But you just want your team to show up and properly have a go, don't you really? I don't really feel we ever did. There was a lot of very, very below par performances in there. But that's just the way it is for today. We'll have to move on, see what we can do next time. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.